Pat, you've referred to this period as a generational opportunity to capture income, especially in the municipal bond market. Why is that?
Right now, the tax-exempt curve gives you 100 basis points of yield in excess of that of the taxable curve. So you can get tax equivalent yields in the high-grade muni market in the mid-6s and in the high-yield market in the mid-9s. That opportunity hasn't existed since before the financial crisis, with a few exceptions of times of strife in the market.
And there's lots of different ways to invest in the muni market. People think of it as monolithic, but it's not. There's GOs, there's revenue bonds. Which ones do you like?
It depends on the project around the revenue bonds. So we don't, in general, right now you have 49 of 50 states have passed budgets. So GOs are in a good spot on a state level. Localities, that's going to differ depending upon, what's going on in that individual locality. Muni credit's in great shape. We came out of the pandemic short of about $145 billion across all the variety of assets in the municipal bond market, and the federal and state governments came in with 300, so that we started out at a really good spot. Right now, we try to make sure that we're looking around the corners using a lot of different tools, look at economic activities. So when I answer that question, it's very specific to the exact area or state or county or zip code that you're looking at.
So another way that municipal bonds have some differences is there's actually some high yield munis out there.
There is.
And not too long ago, BlackRock converted a mutual fund, which is all the rage, into an ETF. This is the iShares High Yield Muni Active ETF. Can you talk about the decision making behind that? Is it just the big trend, got to turn mutual funds into ETFs?
No, a lot of thought went into this, and really what drove this was listening to our clients. As practice management from the financial advisors has started to evolve and more models are being used, ETFs are just more user-friendly in those models. So our clients wanted an ETF that could be at scale, so that's why we actually transitioned the fund to the ETF.
And why are munis and muni ETFs the antidote, if you will, to all the market uncertainty out there? Everyone's watching treasuries, but you're saying is that it's a good place to be in munis because it's away from all that craziness, right?
Well, we're certainly correlated to treasuries, not one for one, but there's a correlation of munis to treasuries. Right now, because of that extra steepness, we're almost two times that of the taxable curve in terms of the steepness. So there's a tremendous amount of value in that 20 to 30 year part of the curve, and it's giving you an opportunity to maximize that income stream. And because of the strength of the underlying credit, you can go to sleep at night with your products.
Another big trend that we keep hearing about is investing in infrastructure. And this is obviously comes back to the muni market. Can you talk about that?
The muni market's always provided a venue for infrastructure funding across the United States. What we're seeing now is that state and local governments going alongside the private investors in different projects. There's a deal that's going to price today for JFK Terminal where you have private developers partnering with municipalities to come up with common solutions. I think that's a trend that we'll see continuing.
And then finally, most people invest in munis in their particular state because they get the tax-free benefit. But are there any states that you're cautious on? For a long time, people would say, watch out for Illinois or watch out for Chicago bonds. New Jersey had a stigma for a little bit. So any areas that you're still a bit cautious on?
Look, we try not to comment on too many individual credits for obvious reasons. What I would say is when there's a shortfall in pension funding and kind of chronic issues, you name the 3 states that would be at the top of the list. If you looked at it, we try to make sure that we are deep in those credits. Chicago, continues to debate, their fiscal situation as leadership changes there. So it's definitely something that we're highly focused on. It's not just the problem areas. We want to make sure that we're looking at the areas that appear strong, but that underlying economic activity that you see through, state and local taxes, things along those lines, economic activity maps, that we're looking at all of the swath of credits across the country. But yes, those 3 states definitely always come to mind when people first start looking at it. But they're all in a good spot right now.
And you're watching the politics.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on and talking about it.
Thank you.